In today's transmission, we learn how to create fades, how to remove silence from audio regions, and how to work with folders. If these are topics that you really don't know much about, but you probably think you should learn, then I highly suggest you tune in. You ready? Here we go. Let's go. Oh, it's early today, guys. Had to get it in early today. And because it's early, why don't we just say, let's go? All right, we're going to get into it. Logic, user guide, and tutorial. Eddie Gray at your service. We're going to get into it. We're going to go deep. We're going to have fun, and we're going to take away a lot of information, all right? So without further ado, I say we just get right into it. I do want to remind you that this is brought to you by HF Music Academy. Go ahead and sub on the channel. We want your support, and we would highly appreciate it. I'm going to get in the woods. Let's get into it. Okay. If you've been following this series, you know how valuable this has been. You know what a game changer it has been to learn layouts, right? Be really informed. And guys, I've been learning so much with you. It's been a true privilege. So much that when this is all said and done, I'm going to have just the greatest content to provide. And so my team and I have been talking about it, and we have a lot of surprises for you. So with that being said, let's get into it. Let's create some fades and crossfades on audio region. So from the get-go, it says here that you can fade in the beginning of audio regions. You can fade out at the end of audio regions. Pretty basic stuff. Fades are only visible if you are zoomed in enough to see the waveform in the audio region. So you're only going to be able to see the fades if you're zoomed in enough. You can create a fade using either the fade tool. Okay, you can use the fade in and fade out parameters in the region inspector. Conversely, you can hit the keyboard modifier, Control Shift, I believe, and then you can set up in your preferences a kind of hidden feature where you can access the fade tool at will. All right, so at the most basic level, if we want to just create a fade on an audio region, hit T or go ahead and hover over to the primary tool or the cursor tools, select fade, and just create a selection. Again, because I'm zoomed in enough, I can see it. If I'm a little far away, it's a little hard, right? But as soon as I get in there, I'll hit Command Z to remove that. Now, when we're talking about two adjacent regions, such as the ones we find here on track number 5, I merely click, drag over the selection, and now we have crossfades. Because all of the regions were selected, I created what's called a batch fade. Command Z. If that is not what you're looking for, select the regions that you want to fade, or crossfade rather. Click, hold, drag right. You can also drag from left to right, and you're good to go. Okay, so that makes sense. I mentioned a hidden feature under General, Editing, Fade Tool Click Zone. And what that's going to do for you is as soon as you hover over any audio, not MIDI, audio, not the step sequencer, not the pattern format, and not drummer, but audio, then you click and drag right. The same applies for crossfades. Similar behavior. The only difference is I'm not summoning the tool with the tool menu or the cursor tool. I'm merely hovering over the top right or uppermost left region, and then I'm performing the action. If I do not have this enabled, which I wouldn't see why you wouldn't. But if you didn't, now by hitting Control Shift, you can access the same feature. That's the keyboard modifier, Control Shift. Just like this. Okay. All right, my good friends. Page 360. We know that we can create fades using the region inspector as well. So if I click here, one region is selected. I'll open up the region inspector on the top left. In the More tab, you've got some more offerings here, and these actually we'll go over at the end of today's session. You can see we have fade in and fade out. So now we can do this by adding a numerical value. Let's just try something arbitrary, 500, boom. Okay, you do see that we've created a fade here. Let's Command Z that. Let's say I wanted something really minor, something really small, like let's do 40. Okay, so there it is right there. So that's one way to do it. Of course, you can always click and drag up and down. It's up to you how you want to go about it. If you want to add a curve to the fade right below that, here's fade in, here's curve, then you would start to change the numerical value of that, and it will change the slope. Okay, I'll Command Z all of that. The same goes for fade out. I just want to be clear. Of course, we're not working on the left side of the region because that would be fading in. We're working on the right side of the region. You can also create batch fades if the entire track is selected and all of the regions are in key focus. You could go to the region inspector, perform the necessary actions. Let me do 600. And if we look closely, you'll see that a batch fade has been created. Okay, what else? Well, believe it or not, we can also create speed up and slow down effects from here in the same manner that we could create them from here. So if we listen to this guitar, did I disable the, yeah, I don't think I ever turned it back on. Hold on. I love this feature. It's like one of my favorites. Sweet. Okay, if I control click this, it no longer is a fade. It now speeds up. You ready? All right, maybe not that much. Let's try just a bit. And by the way, I just want to remind some of my creatives out there, it doesn't have to just be for the beginning. I hear a lot of people just do it like at the beginning of a phrase or at the end. It could be a creative tool such as this. Yeah, maybe a little bit better executed. Bring this back, and then I would use my tick snap to format feature, meaning I'll bring this selection back. Oh, which brings me to the tool. I forgot what it was called again. We used it that one time. You see what's happening here? What's happening is, because I'm remembering these sessions, some of these ideas are coming up. And so then what I'll do is I'll poke around at the manual. You remember that I've highlighted everything so that I could just go back and try and find the necessary topics that I'm looking for. So I don't remember it clearly at this time, but it was some kind of like joining tool where we can kind of explore the regions and their space. Okay, so that's not going to work because it's creating a fade. Why is it creating a fade? Guys, if you look at my drag mode up here, it says crossfade. So I'm going to change that via key command. I believe that it should always be on no overlap, just my own personal workflow. So then now, snap to grid is set to tick. I'll drag over to the left, and we should not get a crossfade because this was in the wrong drag mode. So these are the kinds of things I want you to look for when you're working on Logic Pro. So on and so forth. Now, obviously, take your time when you're making these creative decisions. Perhaps at first you would just dial it in. You would just get the idea on paper, and then later on, when it's time to refine, you can really get into those details. All right, so We talked about adding fades within the region inspector. We know we can add the slow down and speed up effect as well. So fades created using the fade tool and the region inspector are interactive. After you create a fade, you can adjust the fade using the region inspector fade in or fade out parameters. So this is helpful in terms of, maybe you're using a wider scope, a bit more objective in nature. So you can use the region inspector to refine that fade if need be, but you don't have to do everything within, the regions themselves. So you can be a bit more technical and use some of these tools. Another great workflow tip, which I've talked about before, is just dragging in the region inspector and just doing it side by side like this, right? Just another way. You see that this is a speed up effect. It's not a fade in. If I change it here, of course, that will be reflected on the audio region. All right, let's close this. Let's see, I think I have this set to, there you go. All right, let's keep going. There's a great command that a lot of people don't know about. It's called apply last fade or fade marquee selection. So if I go to this window here, I have it set up as, hold on, apply last edited fade again, option F. It looks like or fade marquee selection. I don't see that one. Let me just try fade marquee. No. So that needs to be updated so far as I can see. But this is not on by default. You have to assign it. So I'm set up with option F, but you can also access it, I believe, from creating a fade and then selecting the contextual menu by control clicking, and you can find it here. So I'm not going to remove my fade and I'm not going to remove the fades. I'm just going to apply last edited fade again. So let's hit that. So let's find out how this works. So I'm guessing that you would click on something here and then apply the key command option F. And so you can see that it took the information that was recorded here and it applied a fade. So I guess I'll click on this region here and hit option F. Oh, it looks like I did that because it's the beginning of a region. Okay, so it's just recording the beginning of the region. Okay, so let me try another fade, but this time on the right side of a region. So we'll fade in this way. Okay, I'll click on this region, hit option F, and it literally remembers what the previous fade was. So apply last edited fade again. I didn't need to record it, just to be clear. It wasn't like I had to control click and record this action. It already knew. So if I create a fade and then I click on another audio region and hit option F, it knows what to do. Does that make sense? Okay. So just to be clear, it applies to fade in, speed up times, fade in, speed up curve. It gives you everything. So let's put that to the test. Let's do another audio region. Sometimes it's good just to change it up. So I'll create a fade here. That's a speed up. All right, I'll go to, let's try this one and hit option F. So it didn't give me the speed up effect, which I was expecting because that's what it says right here. But again, we haven't read enough either. Maybe that's something you clicking. You can also do that here in the region inspector, to be clear. So let's keep testing the waters. But yeah, apply last edited fade again is a beast. So go ahead and make sure you take notes on that. Okay. Awesome. But yeah, it says if you fade out, slow down type change from out to, okay. So if you want to apply crossfades within the region inspector, you merely have to look for some adjoining regions, this one and that one. Here where it says fade out, rather type right below that. So let me give you a quick highlight there. So rather than it saying out, we're going to choose equal power crossfade. So this is the one that seems to be the most popular and I think the easiest to use I'm sure we will find out more over time. But if I go ahead and click now, it's going to change what ends up happening. For example, if I select 500 here, we're creating a fade in. And let's see what happens if I select a fade out at 500. You start seeing behavior of a crossfade with the regions that have been selected. So I personally would do it manually just to make sure, but there it is right there, should you need it. Okay, let's apply the last fade to a marquee selection. So let's do some reading here because I've never done this, just to be clear. When the marquee selection encloses one region, which is followed by a gap, or the marquee selection starts later than the region starts and ends exactly on the region, apply a fade out from the marquee selection start to the region end. When the marquee selection encloses exactly one junction between two adjacent regions, start later than the first region start, and ends earlier than the second region, apply an equal power crossfade. So basically, you're doing this just to be really clear, because sometimes this language is very verbose. You really don't want any clicks or pops. You want a pleasant sound when performance is ending or beginning. I don't want to hear any clipping, any crackles, or anything like that. So this can kind of sweep some dust under the rug, so to speak. So looks like we can create a marquee selection and then create a fade or crossfade, which we're going to test out in a second here. The marquee selection encloses a region start, which follows a gap, or if the marquee selection starts on the region, marquee selection ends before the region, apply a fade in from the region. Okay, so it's just giving you some scenarios. Again, what I would love to see are some diagrams. I know, look, this thing's already 1,000 pages long, but man, it would make such a difference for a lot of people, I believe. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this. If I create a fade here, for example, and then I create a marquee selection here, I'll hit Option F, nothing. Okay, so I got to check one more thing. I will type marquee selection here. Now, based on all the information inside of the key command window, I don't see anything regarding marquee selections and fades. I'm looking through each one of these so that we see that this is not been updated. So we're going to ding this here. We don't have a relationship between the marquee tool and fading, so far as I can see. Again, there's not a lot by way of example. I'll move this one over. I guess I'll create a options. Don't see anything. I don't know. Maybe I'll go in here, start to fade. I don't see anything. I'll do a value of 1,000. Again, it's not doing anything to this region. So for that reason, we'll ding it. All right, so let's go ahead and strike this through. Okay, good. And if you see something else, please let me know. I'm just looking at the information and trying to navigate, right? Where is it? What's supposed to happen? It should just happen automatically, like from that point, Option F, but nothing is occurring. So, okay, editing fades. So we're not going to get into the curve shape, the fade type, and what's referred to as the speed fade. It looks like we did all of this already, to be honest. So if there's anything new, I'll give it to you. Fade curves. I do see something there. Let's say you didn't like the way that this shaker was getting kind of into the song, the way that it was blending in via the fade. Well, of course, we know we can hover over and lengthen the fade, shorten it as well. But if we hover over the middle now, or even just the top here, you see that I can start curving this dramatically. The same curve that is reflected in the region inspector. Okay, so if maybe I don't want to use it anymore. I control click, I'm going to remove the fade in. And if I wanted to remove both of these fades, I would assume that remove fades would remove both of them. So that's a nice little workflow there. I guess it would be nice to have a key command for remove fades. See, I set up the other one is Option F, so I'll hit this with Control Option F. Want to make sure this is not important. Yes, I don't really need that. So then now got both of those assigned to key commands. Apply last edited fade, and I'm not going to do one for remove fade in. I'm just going to do remove all fades. Okay. We can change the fade out type. Now, again, as I understand it, most people use equal power crossfade. This is the way that I was taught. But let's check out the difference. Well, we know what a fade out is, so let's keep moving. Crossfade. It crossfades the selected region with the following region when you use the fade tool or fade. Okay, so we know what a crossfade is. So then what's an equal power crossfade? Results in an EPC. This minimizes volume dips between audio regions. So basically, the transition will be smooth, resulting in a more even crossfade between regions that may be slightly different in level. It sounds like the best bang for your buck is what it sounds like to me. Like no matter what, this tool is going to be the best for most situations. What is this one? Delivers an S curved crossfade. The fade curve, as the name suggests. Okay, well, what's the application? Please, right? The last 3 items in the pop-up menu can only be applied to 2 consecutive regions. Also note that the fade in parameters are redundant when any of the X, EQP, or XS options are chosen. So these features here have to do with fading out and the way that that is affected, like the curve that is implemented. So let's create a fade here. I should zoom in. And it says here that we're using an equal power crossfade. Let's choose just a crossfade. You see what happens there? It's literally just creating an X. So this may kind of show some vulnerabilities in your track, if it has any. It may be better. I don't know. I just know that for the most part, I use this one and it works out quite fine. Let's check out an XS crossfade. I don't see much of a difference between that one. Actually, no difference between that one and that one. I'll try one more time. Maybe, oh, it's because of the curve. Yeah, that's why. So, for example, if I go X, it's just, oh, wow, that curve is moving in a different way. Okay, so yeah, this is when we get into really refining the transitions. To be honest, in most cases, equal power crossfade is going to sound fantastic. But it's good to know here is the XS crossfade, and I'm using curve, and look at that. Wow, that is cool. Nice. Okay, so interesting. You can change the playback of a speed. We know about speed up and slow down, so let's keep that going. We could do that on the regions themselves. In the region inspector, looks like we can turn on automatic crossfades. How? Do you remember earlier when I had my drag mode set to crossfade? You can do that. It says here you can also create crossfades manually, okay, using the fade tool, fade parameter, right? Just kind of re-explaining all the ideas. Looks like you can use the shortcut menu of an existing faded area to control click and apply last edited fade. What else? You can simultaneously adjust the fade parameters for all selected audio regions. So all of this plays well. It's easy to use. It is non-destructive. You can always Command Z it. It's not harming, your files or anything like that. If you do perform the fades in the audio file editor, just to be clear, here, you will destroy your file. You have been warned. Just kidding. All right, we can, let's see. We can delete fades by control clicking. You can also option click with the fade tool. So let's say TF, I hold option, I click, and now it has been removed. Sweet. And then we know, of course, in the region inspector, if you set that value back down to 0, that will be gone. All right, let's transition to removing silent passages. I love this feature here. Use it all the time. Currently mixing some vocals, and what a lifesaver. Without it, you would just have to laboriously go through part by part, and it would be challenging. But thank you, Logic, for giving us just such a phenomenal program. You can remove silent passages from audio regions using this tool. The basic process is simple. All amplitude values below a threshold are removed. So it's almost like a gate, if you know what that does. And new regions are created from the remaining passages. So we have the entire track, if you will, one big region. And then, oh, and by the way, this only edits one region at a time, regardless of how small or how large it is. It's only going to be able to run its processes through one region. Okay, so then now we're going into the parameters. We've got threshold, minimum time to accept as silence, the pre-attack time, post-release, and search zero crossings. Now, in order to really pull this off, make sure I have a performance for you that is worthy of this. This guitar never really stops playing, so that's not going to work. You know what? I'm going to bounce this bass to audio, and this should serve us well. Let's check it. We've been having some interesting issues with rendering using the sampler, of course, which is not uncommon from what I understand. Let's try this out. Sounds cool. I'm gonna add a compressor to the main track here just to get this to bump a little bit, and let's put a little soft clipping in there. I'll take it. All right, sounds good. So then now, I'm gonna get into this remove silence from audio region. So I told you, look, this is one long region. Let me go ahead and splice them up. I'll select both of them. I'll hit Control R. Conversely, you could go here and go into remove silence from audio region. All right, Control X is the key command. And now I'm only editing one of these. So it's not really that good of an example because it keeps playing the whole time. But we're going to have to use it anyway. Okay, so in a case like this, you can see that some of these are a little bit lower and some of these are a little bit higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play with this threshold, and I'm going to see if I can try and find some edit points. Like, for example, there. Do you see that it created some lines when I raised up the threshold? So now it's starting to create various edits based on the threshold of this unique feature. So then now I'm going to just keep raising this up, and now it's literally just keeping the highest points. You see how high this peak is? Okay, so let me go ahead and just do like some nice even chops. I'll call it, yeah, that looks pretty good, just for fun. Okay, and then it says here, what's the minimum time to accept as silence? Okay, so 1 second. So let's see, if I go down to 2 seconds or what have you, nothing is that long in my song. So I have to bring it down in order for you to start seeing this kind of work, right? So here it's saying, no silence, basically. Pre-attack time has to do with when is it coming in. You see how it's extending the selection, okay? And then finally, release has to do with when it's going out, right? You can tell there on the right-hand side, I'm changing the release time. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. There are some better examples of, backup vocals or something like that. But let's look at some of these parameters. Used to define the amplitude level that a passage must exceed in order to be defined, in order to play back as a region. So it has to be loud enough, basically. In terms of the number and length of regions created by the process, this is the most important parameter. As a general rule, a higher threshold value leads to numerous short regions. So the higher it is, the more short regions. The lower, you're going to have fewer large. So let's test that out. The higher it is, click and drag this up and down. Okay. So you're seeing a lot of little regions, right? And then the higher it is, you're going to see one big region. Oh, wait, did I flip that upside down? Yeah, lower values, fewer large regions. Like here, this lower value, it's backwards in terms of the math, but and then here you're seeing a lot of, yeah. Okay, good. Minimum time to accept the silence used to define the length of time that a section must be to be below the threshold value before it is considered a gap. Okay, I'm going to highlight that. Pre-attack time used to add a defined amount of pre-roll to the beginning of all regions. So this is good if you want to capture somebody's breath right before they sing. You don't want to chop everything off for a main vocal, for example. But maybe for backups, you don't need all that breathing, all that huffing and puffing, right? So pre-attack time is going to kind of sort out how long will it be at the very beginning. It says here that overlaps are permitted, so but only if the threshold value is not exceeded. I mean, sometimes these waveforms and transients are right next to each other, right? Post-release time defines an automatic release. And of course, you can use fade times as well, right? You can use fades. This parameter does not allow overlaps, which means that region endpoints cannot be extended. Good, good. So when you release, you will not be able to overlap. And finally, if you click on this little button right here, search for crossings, it's automatically going to snap the region, start and end points to the nearest waveform. So it's going to basically create a perfect blend for you so that you're not getting any clicks or pops. Love it. All right. So in order to open this, it says here in the Logic Pro audio browser, control click an audio region. That's not how I normally do it, but cool. I'll take it. Let's click on that, hit F. All right, that's the project bin. I'm going to control click on this region and remove silence from audio region. What do you know? Cool. I'm going to highlight that. And then it says, depending on the material, all parameters can affect the number of division and regions. So yeah, it just depends. How loud is it? How quiet? Is there gaps, right? Try different values to see what produces the best result. Yeah, there's no kind of one size fits all with the parameters. For the most part, this thing will figure it out for you. But yeah, you're going to have to poke around sometimes. So once you do hit OK with the parameters, you will get a running dialog that says something like, hey, do you want to replace this? Do you want to replace all instances of this region with new regions? Or do you just want to not? And oh, it's so funny. So this is actually its old silence. That's interesting. It's almost like that's almost a hack right there. They didn't update this because that name would show up in functions before, but they removed it not so long ago. But I don't think that happens. Hold on, I gotta Command Z this real quick. This is funny. I don't think that happens here. I could be wrong though. Hold on. Remove silence from audio region. Let me hit OK. Yeah, that's so interesting. So when you do it here, it didn't run that dialog for some reason. I gotta try that one more time. Control X. I'm gonna hit OK. Yeah, it just edited. That's so interesting. So different behavior. It looks like we just caught some inherited characteristics from the last logic. So that's cool. To replace the region in the tracks area, click replace. What's in the tracks area. It ensures that the relative timing of the individual audio segments remain unaltered. To have the region appear, and it's just like you're bouncing into audio, because you got to remember, look, you know how I can do this. Okay, this is non-destructive, meaning the original file, this one right here, my good friends, it's still pure, it's still there. Well, how do I know? When I go in here and I hit Command J, guess what? Nothing has happened, right? This has not been replaced. If I, on the other hand, go to this guy, Control X, oh wait, I'm gonna have to do it from this menu, I just remembered. Here, and where are you? Look at this, what a mess. All right, cool, here, Control click, remove silence from audio region. I will hit OK. I will replace. Okay. I mean, let's see. It looks like it created another copy. If I hit Command J. Okay, well, that just did the same exact thing. This one did not create a copy, and then this one did. Okay. Look at this. I love this. I like it when they explain something. Like, hey, why would you use this? Fantastic. Look, the most common use for this is simulation of the classic noise gate. That's what I said earlier, right? When used on long recordings with numerous gaps, such as vocals, instrumental solos, you can obtain better results by setting a low threshold value. Let's go ahead and just highlight that. Background noise is removed without affecting the main signal. Guitars, you're going to need this. I'm telling you right now. For short percussive regions, you can simulate time compression by simply altering the tempo. You can even quantize the individual segments in an audio recording. Okay, so like they're throwing out ideas, but they're not telling you how. So like with this one, you can simulate time compression expansion by simply altering the tempo. Do they mean the threshold? Not sure. You can even quantize the individual segments in an audio recording. Okay, need more information. What else does it say here? Create segments of, this is good, right? I don't know, you record somebody doing a podcast, reading some poetry or something like that. You want to just cut out all the silence so that every time they speak, you can just hear them with clarity. At the moment, I currently have a gate on my voice, so when I take it off, check this out. You hear all that noise in the background? While not extremely audible, it certainly is not as professional. And when we're thinking about audio recordings, we need to be as professional as possible as this. So now when I speak, you hear me clearly. The gate comes in as soon as I'm done speaking, and you get a different overall experience than hearing the room noise like this. And not to mention that you can hear like every single sound that somebody makes with their mouth. So sometimes it's just appropriate. Okay, cool. Tempo changes allow you to simulate a time. We talked about this as the syllables automatically move closer together or farther apart. Yeah, I'm just not sure what they're like referring to. Like, why are we talking about tempo when we're talking about? Yeah, for film synchronization, you can move or reposition the speech segments by simply dragging them around in the tracks area. Well, we know that. Oh, okay, they're just talking now. Okay, I thought they were trying to kind of bring it back to this remove silence. They're just giving you thoughts. Okay, like if you want to move the dialogue around, let's say you get a gig or when you get a gig, right? Create segments for drum loops. It looks like you can divide drum loops into small segments. For example, an audio passage where the bass drum and snare are completely separate. Yeah, so like if you have a loop from Splice or Sounds, Loop Cloud, you know, it's like kick, snare. You can just like hit remove silence so you don't have anything in the background. Not a bad idea. So wait, I want to read this one last time. Tempo changes allow you to simulate a time compression or expansion effect. Okay, I'm not seeing what the purpose of that is, but okay. This optimizes synchronization. So it looks like they're getting into some tape machine, samplers, hard disk recording. Changing just one component can lead to a loss of synchronization. This is particularly applicable to long audio regions. This is another situation where this can help by creating several shorter audio regions with more trigger points between the audio and MIDI events. For example, you can use this method to roughly split up a whole audio file and then divide the new regions using different parameters. Okay, I don't see the application nor the relevance, but I'm sure it's there. Again, just a quick disclaimer. This is, my 7th year in the game. So, you're not going to know everything. And I'm, to be honest, mostly interested in just what's going to serve what I like to call the modern creative. Those of you that just got a laptop or, just got a desktop a couple years ago, you're trying to just make the most of this program, make some money. That's what I specialize in. How to get you from A to B and A to C and A to D and A to Z at some point. You can remove silence automatically to create regions from an audio file that contains silent passages. Yep, we know that already. Thank you. It looks like this was going to save hard disk space. I mean, how much, I guess, over the course of years and songs. But now they're getting into sample libraries, CDs, DVDs stored. And so you can use this to split the individual audio regions. Okay, we got to move on. Let's finish off with Logic Pro folders after this break. Okay, cool. All right, Eddie Gray reading the user guide and tutorial brought to you by hfmusicacademy.com. If you have any questions, hit us up. That's what we're here for. We're really doing this every day. Look, you don't do this every day because it's fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm having a blast here. But you do it because you love it. It's in the spirit of service and really just providing and contributing to, the whole. So anything you guys need, hit us up, support hfmusicacademy.com. And yeah, if you have questions, happy to answer. The YouTube comments have been blowing up. I've been so grateful for that. The community is growing. I'm so grateful for that. We have a newsletter that we send out every single week. If you want to be a part of that, again, support at hfmusicacademy.com. And with that, I can also assure you that if you ask my team and you tell them that Eddie Gray sent you, you've been watching the YouTube lives. You're like really into it. You're learning so much. I love Eddie. I always smash the like button. I'm always destroying the share button. Can you please give me a free course? And they will offer you a free course on us. Okay, so I really hope you take advantage of that. We're going to finish this off with working with folders in Logic Pro. You ready? All right, let's go. So wasn't too long ago that I've been throwing out some Instagram videos, and great composer by the name of Anthony Clint Jr. was like, man, these videos are so great. Thank you. A lot of people just don't know about this. They're just not taking the time, and nor should they, by the way. Right? This is why I'm here, because I'm the best, and I want to make sure that I give you the best content. So, I want you to win. And what it's going to take is the necessary knowledge to have the experience that you want to have. So let's learn about folders, what they do, and how you can apply them. We are in the Logic user guide now. Let me make sure that I'm sharing the way I want to. Yes, I am. Okay, so a folder is a region that can contain regions. How about that? So we're not talking about a track stack, by the way. We're talking about a unique feature called a folder, and we're not talking about a folder stack either. Similar to a folder in the Finder that can contain different files. You can edit a folder in many of the same ways you edit a MIDI region. Okay, so this is very similar to MIDI. A folder can be thought of as an arrangement within an arrangement. A folder can contain as many tracks with their regions as needed. When a folder is closed, it looks like a MIDI region in the tracks area, but when you open it, this is what it looks like here. So it contains a bunch of information. The track containing the folder doesn't have a channel strip. It's not a channel strip. Its track header shows a folder icon in place of an instrument. That would be here. You guys see that right there? Cool. If you drag a folder to a software instrument track, all MIDI regions in the folder are played by that instrument. This can be useful if the folder contains tracks for a given instrument or instrument type, such as drum kit, string sound, brass sections. This provides a quick way of listening to a string arrangement if some of the intended sound sources are unavailable. So this is interesting. If you drag a folder to a software instrument track, everything in there is going to play. That's cool. I want to highlight that, and I want to try that out. Similarly, an entire project could itself be a folder appearing as a gray beam. Now, why would you want to do this? In this way, you could arrange several projects for a concept or a concert. Another possible use might be to store different arrangements of a project in different folders. So you can store different arrangements in different folders. Perhaps the 30-second version, perhaps the bumper, right? Allowing you to switch between them rapidly. I've never done this, but you know what? Might give it a shot. You can also use folders to represent song sections, such as the verse. If you just want to work on the verse and I don't want to see everything else, really nice way to do this. Again, never done that either. You can nest folders within other folders with no limit to the number of levels you can create. No limit. All right, so let me go ahead and just start highlighting this. And actually, I want to highlight this as well. This is juicy, guys. Page 367. Okay, let's create them and let's unpack them. How do we create them? Select the regions, then choose functions, folder, pack folder. All right, let's just start simple. Command Z, that, these two. Okay, functions, folder, pack folder. Now, something that's interesting, hold on. Create MIDI region. Is you can also control click and go here. I'm just trying to see if there's a correlation between this menu. Hold on. No, not really. There's different selections here. I was blown away in that last session. I don't know if you guys remember, but I was looking at edit here and my brain was telling me, hey, the same information that's in the main menu bar is also here. It was just such an epic moment. Anyway, so we're here and I'm going to functions, folder, pack folder, key command, control, option, command P. I do want to just throw this out there. This is not a take folder, but this is a folder rather. Now, what's interesting about Logic 10.6 that I noticed, and again, nobody told me or anything, I just have to kind of scrutinize it a bit, is that it's still not done. Like there's still one more procedure that needs to take place. And I'll show you that in a second. I just want to make sure that we're following this. So it says here that everything that we selected is on the same track. Is that true? Yes, but it was already on the same track. Why don't I select two things? Let's do these two. Is that cool? All right, so then we'll control click folder, pack folder. All right, so it's all in one track. Here's that folder. Awesome. And then now we're inside of this pack folder, right? But if you were to have done, oh, and by the way, to kind of enter into this separate screen, you then have to double click on this folder. You'll notice I have an isolated screen. This doesn't mean that the song has been edited or anything like that. This is strictly visual. So I'll play this out for you. So now I can go back to the track where everything else is by hitting that top level icon or just double clicking the back of the workspace. And then now we're here. So one indication that I'm inside of this folder is just the background. It looks a little different. Okay. If I double click, now I'm back. Okay. So we have this pack folder feature, and I'm really curious to just drag this in here based on what it said earlier. Let me just hit S. So theoretically, based on the statement that we read, this should only play fairy phrases and not the bass, but I don't know. Let's see. I'm playing it. Everything. Okay, so that's my bad because I have an audio region and I was thinking I wanted MIDI. So what I'm gonna do is click on this one and this one, and I will create a take folder or a pack folder rather. Okay, so it's here, and then I'll drag all of this into fairy phrases, and let's see how this plays out. Yeah, so that's really interesting. It took both of these MIDI regions and it played them out, even though that one right now is soloed for some reason. But oh, it's because I've soloed this, so I could hear both of them, right? It wasn't just playing one; it was playing both of these. Listen. That's a really interesting feature. I had no idea we could do that. Very cool. Okay, if the regions are located on a different track, a new folder track is created. So back to my first point, it says if the selected regions are all on the same track, the folder is created, but that's not necessarily true, and I'll show you how and why in a second. When moving a folder with a single content track, the folder content's playing using the channel strip of the hosting track. Yeah, we got that. So, for example, here, I want to pack folder. So then now you're in this world, which I'm not exactly even sure. Let me delete some stuff here. So that was from yesterday. Yeah, I'm not sure why you would do it this way, because when I double click this, I'm, wait a minute. Oh, it did it now. I'm going to try that one more time. Hold on. Oh, cool. I forgot about that. Folder. Let's unpack folder to existing tracks. And then I'll try this one last time. Here, pack folder. And then I double click. Okay, it is there. All right. So yeah, I remember one time having to do that again because it looks visually different. So it makes sense because look, let me just show you what happened. I hit pack folder, and so then now it looks the way you would expect it to, but I can see why they changed the behavior. And again, it wasn't mentioned anywhere, but there's a little folder icon here now that tells you, hey, this is just one track, as opposed to selecting two or more of these and then having the typical behavior. So anyway, let's keep this train going. We can create an empty folder with no region selected. Choose functions folder. Okay, let's no region selected. Functions folder. Okay, why would you do that? Yeah, I wouldn't even know why, to be honest. Empty folder contains tracks assigned to all channel strips from the current level. I don't even know what that means. All right, let me see. Let me play this out. No. I guess I'll move it over. Yeah, so it's happening here, what I was telling you earlier. See how I'm double clicking it and I'm not going to a specific space. But again, I don't know if that's because there's nothing on this region, but that's what was happening before. So there was just nothing. I wasn't going anywhere. Yeah, I'm still unclear on why you would create an empty folder, Not sure if this is just visual. Maybe this can be a marker track. You know, when you write music and you want the verse to be this long, I suppose that could be a cool, function. Just a guide track or a chord track or something like that. But I don't know. We need more info. So we can unpack these as well, just like I showed you, right? Unpack to existing tracks or to new tracks. So let's say you were done, you edited this in whatever fashion you needed to. Maybe, I don't know, you got really detailed, you needed more space to do some wild hi-hat edits or something. And then we double click, I click on this, and we can click on the folder and unpack this, but it looks like there's other ways to do this as well. Function, folder, unpack folder to not a new track, but just the existing track. I just want everything to kind of flatten out, and here we are. So to that point, if I click on that little folder, I can unpack, okay? And then unpack and merge would essentially just join everything. Cool? Okay. You can open and close by, looks like there's several ways. Logic Pro, main window title. Yeah, so we're looking at the display level, just to be clear. And before we continue, why you would do this is you have a 13 or 15-inch laptop. You need more space. You want to look at the screen and just be a bit more efficient. You can create there's other reasons why, but this is probably the most immediate that you can use like today. You just need a better way of looking at your screen. When inside a folder, the folder track can't be seen. The main window title bar shows the project name followed by the folder name. The main window title bar, I want to look at this really quick. The main window title bar. I don't know where main window title bar is, to be honest. I don't see anything here. They talking about up here? No, I don't think so. But anyway, if you want to get out of here, double click back here or hit that top level button and then you're back home. Cool. Open a folder. We can double click. You can select the folder you want to open, then use the go into folder region key command. Wow, there's a key command. Cool. If it's a MIDI region rather than a folder, the piano roll editor opens up. If this is a MIDI region rather than a folder, I'm double clicking it now, and it seems to go into the folder. So not sure what they're talking about there. Close a folder. We can double click the background of the tracks area, as I said, or click the display level button. If you want to add and remove regions from folders, you can do that. Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know you could throw them in there. Check that out. So this is a folder. Okay. Let's say I want to drag in this audio in there. Look at that. Is it also on time? Hold on. Bar 13. Is that bar 13? Yeah, that's cool. That's really interesting. I mean, you're literally just creating some kind of like, Inception like secondary alternative reality, and then you create your edits, and then you can click the background of the workspace or hit that top level button, and then you're back here, right? And then once you're done with all of your edits, you go to functions, folder, unpack this folder, but not to the new tracks, just to where they existed originally. Boom. You gotta love it. Really interesting. I had no clue that you can add regions to a folder. Let's go. If it doesn't already contain a track that uses the same channel as the source, Logic creates one. If it does not contain a track using the same channel, the track uses this channel. So when you enter the folder, you see the dragged regions at the drop position. Yeah. So depending on where you drop them, is that how that works? So for example, let me take this one and drag it to bar, let's do 39. Wow. That's deep. I don't even know how and why right now, but I know it's deep. Okay, remove regions. If you open a second tracks area by choosing window, open tracks, command 1. Wow, these guys are going really crazy today. All right, let's go then. You guys want to do it? Let's go. So let me resize this. They're kind of suggesting some like matrix stuff here. Hold on. Okay, cool. All right, and then I'm gonna hit Command 1. So you're two different tracks areas right now. Let me go ahead and bring this down a little bit. Okay. I'm just curious where this is going. Let me close up some windows. Okay. So, let's see. I'll drag in this green shaker bar 15. Okay, awesome. And let me resize this track header. All right, let's go through their situation here. In one of the two windows, open the folder containing the regions you want to remove. Okay, so I'll just do it right here. Drag the regions into the tracks area in the other window. Wow, are you serious? And why would you do it this way? Not sure. Oh, maybe you can have two screen sets, or if you have two displays, you can have one kind of focused on just the vocals and one on the rest of the track. And so then let's say you're like, okay, I don't want this region anymore. I'm going to drag it in here now. It looks like it. Oh, what happened? Oh, there it goes. Wow. Guys, you heard it here first. You know this. You heard it here first. I'm going to Command Z that. Let's see. Does it go back? Beautiful. Beautiful. Resources for the modern creative. We're just bringing you the best of the best. I mean, this is awesome. Really, really deep stuff. It looks like it takes a minute to like register, but then you can just drag that back. So if you want more control of this program, I want you to stay tuned. We need to keep doing this. All right, because I'm telling you, these are gems. They will stay with you for a long time. Okay, create alias folders. Okay, what is this? You can create a copy of a folder that contains aliases. All right, then you can use the copied folder as an alternative mix folder by muting regions. Wow, that's a lot. And editing instruments or playback parameters. For example, you can quickly switch between different arrangement versions simply by muting and soloing different folders. You can quickly switch between, let me highlight that. That's of value. Create an alias folder. Option shift as you drag the folder where you want the alias to start. Okay, so let me just, hold on. So let's pretend that I've got this sophisticated arrangement. Okay, and I want to create an alias of this here. Shift option. We'll drag this over to bar, let's do 65. I want it to be away. Okay, so now I have this specific folder. Okay, and then hold on. This one, where does this take me? I don't see anything. Nothing. Hold on. I see a MIDI region. So I'm just having some issues here. Hold on, pack folder. So I only see one MIDI event, and it's kind of cumbersome in all fairness. Yeah, this is not what it was made out to be. I got excited though. I'm not gonna X this out because truly I feel like there's something there that there's more information. Like I'm pretty sure it works. I just don't know how. I mean, I did what it said. Well, hold on. You can create a copy of folders that contain aliases. Well, none of mine had aliases. Yeah, I'm not even sure if that's worth our time. Here's what I'll do. I'll take a screenshot and let me see what else we got. Groove templates. Okay, now we got to do this next time. Guys, as you may have noticed, I'm not just, rummaging like through all this. Like I'm really taking the time. If I feel like it's important, then I will go over it. In fact, just before we go, I have to check. I got to check on this MIDI thing. Okay, so on the left-hand side is the pack folder. I'm going to create some, wait a minute, the aliases are right here. So I did have aliases. There you go. All right, so then just real quick, I'll do it one more time. Let's create some alias. Okay, so then based on the information here, I'm going to go back and I'm going to create wait, is it a duplicate? Hold on. Okay. Then use the copies folder. Okay, I see what's going on. So then let's say I drag the, okay, yeah. Thank you very much. Persistence. Okay, so if now I've just duplicated this over. It's not an A, I just duplicated this. And then now I can hear the track without the, the fairy phrases section. Does that make sense? So let's go back. This section has everything contained and I can listen to it. In fact, I have to show you an example. And now I'm going to just go back to the regular screen just so we can really see this, okay? Okay. So on the left-hand side, we have a folder, and then on the right-hand side. If I click on this one, theoretically, and I really want to mute everything else. I don't want to see anything else. Okay. I just want to show you the information so it's clear. Okay, so here, we're just listening to this. Okay, now I'm going to back out of this folder, and then let's just think of a separate arrangement, something different. And this time I'm going to say, hey, you know what? On this arrangement, I want to take out the fairy phrases. I just want to listen to this from, just the guitar and the shaker. This is an opportunity for you to check arrangements as well to see how they're working. I don't know how, but I'm sure there's something there, guys. I am sure there's something there. I will highlight this because I didn't know this was even a possibility. The next time I see you, we're going to be working with alias folders. It looks like, with groove templates. It looks like we're also going to cover all of the region parameters inside of the region inspector. So you're not going to want to miss that. That's really deep information. We're talking about pro level stuff here, okay? All the audio region parameters inside the region inspector. Same goes for MIDI. And looks like we're going into the quantization type, so we can cover that at length. And then we will start chapter 9. This has been a super epic chapter. Hope you're enjoying the content. Let me go ahead and save this to make sure that we are on the same page. Yeah, guys, I really hope this is making a difference. That's why we're doing it. If we didn't think it would make a difference, then we just simply wouldn't do it, to be honest. But yeah, we value your time, we value your commitment, and we thank you for being a part of this special event. My name is Eddie Gray on behalf of hfmusicacademy.com and Resources for the Modern Creative. I'm going to get out of here. I want you to have a great day. Go ahead and hit me up in the comments, and I will see you soon. Let's go!